The next morning, I head back to the school office to sign out before leaving campus. Hazel Lyons, the school receptionist, stares at me from over her thick glasses, perched on the end of her nose.
A doctor's appointment?
Yes, ma'am. 8 o'clock this morning was the only time they were able to fit me in.
You'll bring a note back with you?
Of course. School policy says a doctor's note is required upon returning to campus from an appointment, but the aging receptionist stopped caring about notes in practice years ago. I've lost more doctor's notes than I could count. As Hazel jots my information on the sign-out sheet, I watch as Shelley waters the plants in Dean Osborne's office. Osborne has always been one of the first staff members in the office every morning, even arriving before Dean Blackstone before her firing. But I don't sense her towering presence in the office this morning.
When do you plan to be back?
By third period.
Very well. You're signed out. Get on your way.
Thank you, Hazel. She gives me a dry look as I smile wide and head out the door. As I step into the main hall, I immediately nearly run into Piper. She gives me a once-over, noting my pea coat and umbrella.
Did you just sign out? Are you going to go investigate something?
I have a doctor's appointment. Her eyes brighten.
Yeah, sure. Don't leave without me.
I hang my head as Piper hops into the office, making a beeline for Hazel and the sign-out sheet. Outside, I eye the sky and its low-hanging gray clouds from the Circle Drive. Hopefully the rain will hold off until I'm back from Camp Meriden.
Whew! Made it just in time.
Piper grins as she bounds up next to me, somehow having tracked down a jacket and umbrella of her own. I'm tempted to burst her bubble and send her to class, but after eavesdropping on my conversation with Una yesterday, she's probably pieced together where I'm headed. And if I refuse to take her with me, there's a non-zero chance she'd attempt to trek through the woods and meet me at Camp Meriden.
This is perfect. I've stayed up all night researching possible explanations for Bianca's sleepwalking. I'll fill you in on the way.
I hope it's a short list. It won't take us long to get to Meriden.
Don't worry. I'll talk fast.
I spot our ride, an older gray sedan, pulling into the drive.
Is that our car? This is so exciting.
The vehicle pulls in front of us, and I lean down to look through the open window. River and Piper take on near identical expressions as they clock one another. Who's that?
Who's that? Who are you?
I open the passenger door. River, this is Piper, Bee's cousin. Piper, this is River, my friend from Ravenswood. River leans toward me as I take a seat, and Piper climbs in the back. This is that Piper?
Yep. River, why is your car so old? And why did your parents give you a girl's name?
River gives me a blank stare. I know. I owe you. Despite the relative wealth of the students who attend Wildwood and Ravenswood, many of the upperclassmen don't own vehicles. Parents and guardians think they can keep their wards out of trouble by limiting their ability to leave campus. I know that's the case for my grandmother. River saved up to buy a car on his own a few months ago, and considering how easily I was able to convince him to drive me this morning, I get the sense he enjoys flouting his parents' expectations. Were you able to ask around about any Ravenswood students who might have been spotted with Bianca? I checked with my usual sources at the high school dorms. Things have been pretty quiet the last few weeks. No outings that would have matched up with your friend's sleepwalking experiences.
She's not sleepwalking.
River glances back at Piper as he pulls onto the main road. Okay, I'll bite. What do you think she's doing? Piper holds up a notebook so River can see it in the rearview mirror. It's covered in a long list of chicken scratch.
I've pinpointed at least 18 possible explanations. Sirens, possession, telepathic communication.
For the love of...
Excuse me.
Hey, let's see what we find at the camp before we start discussing possible explanations. River takes a steadying breath while Piper leans back in her seat. She motions to me and River.
How long has this been going on anyway? Bee didn't say anything about you having a boyfriend.
We're not. It's not like that. We're colleagues. Just, friends. River and I give one another an awkward glance as Piper snorts in the back seat.
Yeah, sure. So, let me get this straight.
Piper leans forward so her face is nearly between the two of us.
Bianca's in trouble because she's supposedly been sneaking off campus with a boy, and you're helping her by sneaking off campus with a boy.
It's easier to fly under the radar when you're not sleepwalking? Piper eyes me, a sour look on her face.
She's not sleepwalking.
I sigh and glance back over at River. There's an expression on his face I can't quite read. He shifts in his seat. Maybe we should just, have a few minutes of quiet before we arrive.
Yep. Fine by me.
Piper pulls an open package of peanut butter crackers from her jacket pocket, dropping a few crumbs on the seat next to her. River nearly turns to say something to her, but I give him a look, reassuring him wordlessly that I'll take care of it. He takes a breath and settles back in his seat. We pass a sign for Camp Meriden and soon after pull off the highway onto a winding, wooded road. These woods are an extension of the woods behind Wildwood, and they give me the same pit in my stomach I've felt since last week. We soon approach a clearing in a large parking lot, totally empty except for 2 cars. River approaches slowly. What do you think? Off-season groundskeepers? Could be.
We could take them.
Piper. You think we should steer clear? No, I think we make up a story. None of us knows where this cave is. It'll make our job easier if someone points us in the right direction. I'll let you do the talking.
You're so good at lying, Fred.
That's not a compliment, Piper. From the parking lot, the 3 of us head up a short trail toward a group of buildings surrounding a small courtyard with a fountain in the center. The water is turned off and the flowers and shrubs are all well past their prime, but it's clear none of the students at Meriden are really roughing it while they're here. Can I help you 3? We turn to find an older man snuck up behind us. He holds a rake in one hand and a bag full of dead leaves in the other. Hi, yes, we're looking for a cave here on the campgrounds. My sister, y'all here with the Wildwood Hall lady. This stops me in my tracks. I glance at River, who seems equally taken aback. Meanwhile, Piper's face breaks out in a grin.
The plot thickens.
Yes, her. Could you point us in her direction? The groundskeeper points northeast. Just follow that trail for a stretch and take a right when you come to a fork in the road. The cave will be on your right. Thanks, we appreciate the help. And be careful. Huh? That cave's a strange place, and it's easy to get lost if you spend too much time inside. Find what you're looking for and then get on your way. River lets out a sigh. Meanwhile, the grin on Piper's face grows ever wider. Thanks for the heads up. Fog creeps around the periphery of the trail as we follow the path laid out for us by the groundskeeper. River leans in as Piper charges ahead. What Wildwood Hall lady? Could be Bianca, or I don't know. There are a few women from the office who might know enough about her situation to want to investigate what's going on. You planning on making up a story with them too? I think we'll just need to play it by ear. It only takes us a few minutes to spot the fork in the road. Piper stands at the junction, looking this way and that before jumping in excitement.
There it is!
And before I can say anything, she runs off. Bee's not going to be happy with me if her cousin gets lost in a cave on my watch. That wry smile sneaks into the corners of River's mouth. It's almost as if you should have left Bee's cousin at school. Hey, you could have kicked her out of your car. Yeah, I'm sure that would have gone over well. As we turn right at the fork, the cave emerges. It's an impressive geological structure, carved by nature into the side of a small cliff, surrounded by trees and covered in moss. River pulls out a flashlight. You ready? I pull out my own flashlight. Always prepared. As we step out of the gray morning light, I hear Piper's footsteps echo off the walls of the cave, growing further away with every step. Piper, don't run too far inside. I listen, but don't hear a response from her in return. That girl. Taking a few steps forward, I shine my flashlight further into the cave. A path forward has been worn into the stone, surrounded on either side with stones and stalagmites. So, what's so special about this cave?
Oh, I think I know.
I turned back toward River and noticed something I'd missed as my eyes adjusted to the darkness of the cave. One whole wall, near the entrance, is covered in hearts. Decades worth of carvings, each one of them boasting the names or initials of camp couples. Whoa, you've got to be kidding me.
I mean, it's a co-ed summer camp.
Yeah, this was just a convenient little detail Bianca opted to not share with me.
Think we can find her name? It might be our best chance at finding out what Ravenswood student is involved.
I take a look at the cave wall and try to estimate the number of hearts on display. There are at least 300, all of them different sizes and in different stages of wear. We came all the way here. Let's do it. River takes the top half of the wall and I take the bottom, working our way methodically, up and down, left and right, looking for hearts that appear recently carved. It takes a few minutes, but I finally find the heart we're looking for, on the periphery, with Bianca R. etched as clear as day in the top half of the heart. I tap the wall. Here we go.
Yeah? What's the other name?
Give me a second. This part's harder to read. I adjust my flashlight. It looks like it might say, Florian V? River pauses for a moment and then throws his head back and laughs. It's a rare enough occurrence, it always takes me by surprise. Why are you laughing? I know why Bianca didn't want anybody to know that she came to this cave. Florian is an 8th grader. A middle schooler? Yeah, and he's a personality. Really big into the poetry scene. He likes staging protests, too. He attracts a certain type of crowd, but he's definitely not to everyone's taste. Bianca told me how much she loved the poetry class at Meriden this summer. There you go. You said you checked with your sources about high school students leaving the dorms. Would an 8th grader leaving have flown under their radar? I didn't ask. I figured a popular freshman girl wouldn't want to be caught dead with anyone younger than her. And for that matter, I'm a little surprised Florian would be interested in a girl who's so traditionally popular. A noise, something like an elevator ding, rings out from further inside the cave. What the? Was that Piper? Her cell phone? I don't know. River ventures a few paces further into the cave, shining his flashlight into the darkness.
Do you think she'd have the sense not to go too far inside?
She's smart, but I think her curiosity could get the best of her. I walk a little further into the cave. Piper! Both of us listen for a few moments, but neither of us hear anything, except for the sound of dripping water. River looks at me with a beleaguered frown. We're gonna have to go get her. I know. I take a picture of the heart encircling Bianca and Florian's names, and then join River as he treks further inside. The cave progresses downward as a single tunnel for a stretch, but then opens dramatically as we step into a massive chamber. Gray daylight shines inside from a hole in the ceiling, a few stories above our heads. Around the perimeter of the chamber, 7 or 8 different pathways of different sizes continue forward, deeper into the cave. Whoa. Bianca mentioned the cave had different branches, but I wasn't expecting this. We need a map. The groundskeeper might have one. A map wouldn't help us locate Piper. Yeah, but it might help us avoid getting lost. I'll call the camp office, assuming I can find a signal down here. I take a moment to inspect the different tunnels while River takes out his phone. Each one has a different feel to it. Different temperatures, different smells, different sounds. Something catches my eye. As I examine the tunnel on our far right, I notice grooves in the floor. Covered in dirt, but obviously stretching from the entrance into the chamber all the way to this particular tunnel. And by my feet, I spot a dusting of familiar crumbs, remnants of peanut butter crackers. Here we go. I point to the crumbs on the ground. River comes over to give them a look and then rolls his eyes once he puts two and two together. What are the chances she did that on purpose? There's no telling with Piper, but I'd be willing to bet she's following these grooves. All right, let's see where they take us. The grooves in the floor lead us even deeper into the cave, and we encounter more tunnels and chambers than we could count. But Piper's cracker crumbs continue as helpful markers as we venture forward. More and more, it seems like she left them behind on purpose. After rounding a sharp corner, the same noise from before rings out, albeit much louder, and I see two pulses of green light reflect off the rocks up ahead, one after the other. Did you see that? I did. Piper! But I hear nothing. We round one more corner and find ourselves in another chamber. This one, a dead end. The roots of some large tree have broken through the ceiling of this chamber, surrounding a roughly hewn stone pedestal in the center of the room. Piper sits on the ground, head down, directly in front of the thing. What the... River approaches the pedestal as I spring forward to check on Piper. Her eyes are open, but her gaze looks far away. When she doesn't register my presence, I give her shoulders a good shake. Hey, Piper? Piper, you there? I snap my fingers in front of her face, and she bats away my hand.
Stop it! Stop it! Are you okay? I'm fine,
She blinks a few times and then makes eye contact with me. And then she hits the ground next to her with a closed fist.
Dang it!
In the distance, we hear a screech, like some kind of animal. And then the chamber begins to shake. Bits of dirt and debris fall from the ceiling, already weakened by the encroaching roots overhead. From behind us, River takes us both by the arms and pulls us up.
Come on, we gotta go.
Yep. I help pull Piper back from the pedestal, but she isn't quick to move. She looks back at the thing, over and over, as we begin our trek up the passage. The tunnels continue to shudder, and we keep our heads down after a few close calls with falling rocks. As we step foot into the large chamber, we hear another screech, this one even louder, and then everything goes quiet and still, save for the sound of a light rain overhead. That's disconcerting. Yeah. We pause for a moment, waiting and listening. I take a look at Piper, and she seems deep in thought, her brow scrunched and her eyes closed. What are the chances that whatever made that noise is waiting for us outside the cave? I don't know, but I don't want to go looking for another exit out of this place. Fair. We leave the chamber and begin our ascent up the final tunnel, taking extra caution as we return to the mouth of the cave. I take Piper by the arm and move her behind a large stalagmite. Hang back for a second, okay? Be ready to run if I tell you to. She nods absent-mindedly, still off in her own world. River and I approach the opening. Outside, everything looks peaceful in the morning drizzle. Nothing out of the ordinary on my side. Same here. All right, let's get out of here. Piper? Back inside the cave, Piper just stands there, brow still furrowed. Piper!
Coming. I'm coming.
We trek back to the parking lot, and as we near it, I see some movement around one of the two cars that were parked when we arrived. It's only then that I remember the groundskeeper saying something about a wildwood lady. I pull on River in Piper's arms. Hey, hang back for a second. River follows my lead, and I pull him and Piper back behind a tree. After a few seconds, I peek back out to give the person another look. It's then that I realize it's the dean. She stands behind her car and shuts the trunk with conviction. Whoa, that's Osborne, right? Yeah, that's her. This revelation snaps Piper out of her funk once and for all.
Ingrid Osborne?
She tries to climb forward for a better look, but I pull her back.
Not so fast. I don't want her to know we're spying on her.
Or that you weren't entirely truthful on your sign-out form. I roll my eyes. What do you think she's doing here?
What do you think she has in that trunk?
Good questions. I mentioned Camp Meriden to her yesterday when I told her about Bianca's sleepwalking. Maybe there's a connection, but I don't know what it is. Piper gets a gleam in her eye, a spark of curiosity that I'm sure won't cause me any headaches in the future.
Interesting.
After the teen gets in her car and leaves, the three of us emerge from the woods and climb into River's car. The clock on the dashboard indicates we've only been gone for half an hour, but considering everything that's happened, that feels impossible. So, what happened in there, Piper? She doesn't say anything at first as she buckles herself in. Come on. River and I saw a couple of green pulses of light just before we found you. What was that all about?
You saw green pulses?
Yeah. Piper shakes her head.
Ugh, I'm so mad. I know I saw something down there, but it was like a dream. As soon as you woke me up, I forgot it. Now it's just this hole in my memory, this gap in time where I know something should be.
River glances at Piper through the rearview mirror and then gives me a look, at a loss. I turn around from the front seat so I can look Piper in the eye. You're not going to come back here on your own, right? Those tunnels weren't in good shape by the time we left. Piper huffs.
No, I won't come back here on my own.
Good. Once we get back to school, I sit on the information we gathered for the rest of the day, waiting for confirmation from River. But right after dinner, I get the call. Yeah? Confirmed with my source in the 8th grade dorm. Florian was spotted leaving several times prior to last week. Prior to? Yeah, Ravenswood caught on to Florian sleepwalking sooner than Wildwood did with Bianca. His parents quietly picked him up last week so their family doctor could figure out what was going on. So, what are the chances that both Bianca and Florian start sleepwalking for the first time in such close proximity to one another? That sounds like a question for Piper, not for me. You're not even a little curious? If I think of any answers that make logical sense, I'll let you know. Sure. Thanks, River, for the help and the driving and all of it. Yeah. Hey, before you go, you got a better look at that pedestal in the cave than I did. Did you notice anything? I don't know, of note? Just, looked like a pile of rocks to me. River usually tells it to me straight, but I don't know that I got the whole truth from him. That evening, I go by Bianca's dorm room. She rolls her eyes as she opens the door. Fred, I thought I told you that I'm just here for the doorbell camera. Oh, yeah, of course. Before Bianca can grab the camera herself, I slip by and head to the bookshelf where I propped up the camera a couple of nights earlier. Except I'm not all that interested in the camera. I'm interested in the handwritten journals of poetry I leaned the camera against. You know, Bianca, I point to the journals. The smile fades from Bianca's face. I noticed these journals of poetry earlier. Are they yours? From camp? Bianca forces a smile. Yeah, that's right. Not Florian's. And just as quickly, the smile vanishes again. Bianca sits on her bed with a huff. You couldn't just leave it alone. Did you know that Florian has also been sleepwalking? Bianca pauses. Really? Really. Have you talked to him since the summer? No, we said we'd stay in touch, but nothing since camp ended. Do you think there's any chance you were both sleepwalking because you maybe miss each other? Bianca's face reddens. Wouldn't that be a pretty big coincidence? It's the best explanation I can think of. Bianca scowls. I head for the door, but turn at the last moment. So what if he's an 8th grader and you're a freshman? If you make each other happy, who cares? After a lengthy pause, Bianca nods. I told him I'd reach out. I should keep my word. There you go. I'm still mad at you. That's okay. I don't know whether Bianca actually reached out to Florian, but I heard through the grapevine that Bianca didn't sleepwalk Thursday night, so maybe everything has worked itself out. Still, my experiences at Meriden swirl through my mind as I take a seat in my government class Friday morning. Green pulses, whatever Piper isn't remembering, those screeches we heard, and whatever the dean was up to. There are lots of loose threads to this story, and that makes me uncomfortable.
Next,
Junie says, continuing the morning broadcast,
we're going to hear from another one of our class president candidates. Victoria West, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Again, everything about Victoria stands out. Her poise, her polished appearance. Even under the lights of the studio, I can't spot one hair out of place.
You've made student conduct the heart of your campaign. Tell me about that.
It's simply about responsibility, Junie. If we want to make the most of our time at Wildwood, we must hold one another accountable. It's with this in mind, I lean forward in my seat. That I'm afraid I must leverage serious charges against senior class president candidate Eleanor Prince. My professor's head snaps toward the TV screen and the students in my class begin to whisper. Here we go. Thanks for listening to Episode 2, Part 3 of Strange Tales. Strange Tales is written, performed, and edited by Laura Ketchum. The song Leaving Home was sourced from Incompetech.com. You can find the Creative Commons license in the show notes. All other music and sound effects were sourced from Descript. Stay tuned for more of Fred's adventures in upcoming episodes.